Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing M. Night Shyamalan's latest movie to hit theaters, Old. Hi everyone, so I'm Jennifer, and if you are new here, then I think you'd love my channel if you do love movies, because I do all sorts of movie content like movie reviews and other fun videos all having to do with movies. And in the next coming days there are going to be a lot of new reviews of a lot of 2021 movie releases, and I'm starting off with Old today. So yeah, and this review isn't really going to contain any spoilers. If for whatever reason I do mention a spoiler, I'll edit a timestamp so you guys can skip that part, but for the most part I think this is going to be pretty spoiler free. So yeah, with all of that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoy the review, and let's get to it. A thriller about a family on a tropical holiday who discover that the secluded beach where they are relaxing for a few hours is somehow causing them to age rapidly, reducing their entire lives into a single day. So that concept itself is probably one of the most unique concepts to come out of a movie this year, in my opinion, and I was just so pumped to check out this movie. M. Night Shyamalan is a director that I really admire. He's made some of my favorite movies like Signs, Unbreakable, The Sixth Sense, and I even defend some of his bad movies like The Happening. Even though that movie is pretty bad, I still enjoy watching it, and it's kind of like a guilty pleasure. Honestly, I was excited to watch this, and unfortunately, I was really disappointed. I do want to start off with the positives, however. I think the directing of this movie is probably one of the most interesting things that happens throughout the entire movie. I like most of the disoriented shots, and there are some sequences where it kind of places you in the point of view of the characters. There were also some scenes where I told my friend this is exactly what it looks like if I'm not wearing my glasses. I think he did that really nicely because it just added to that whole disoriented factor that the characters in his movie were feeling, and thus we were supposed to feel as well. However, the directing wasn't the best that Shyamalan has ever done, and there are some moments where I really didn't understand the point of certain shots. One in particular, I literally remember there was a scene and it kind of just zoomed into the guy's forehead, and then his head was just weirdly compositioned into the shot. Like, it was just not pleasing to the eyes, and that happens a little bit too often, especially towards the end. I think it tried to just have weird, crazy shots to kind of elevate the movie, but I don't think it worked in its favor, unfortunately. And even though I said this is probably one of the most unique and creative concepts to come out of this year, just having a good concept isn't enough, and the script unfortunately showed that. This is easily one of the weakest scripts that I've seen this year, and it's really disappointing because a movie like Old, dealing with time and just the idea that you have these characters in this one location that are just gonna quickly age in one day is terrifying. I think of that concept in like my perspective, and that scares me so much. So I was really excited for this movie because I thought the script was going to really go deep into aging and time and what that really means, and like a lot of psychological aspects, and I think the movie just ended up being really lazy and just a bland version of what could have been. And the characters in this movie aren't really that interesting either. I love one location movies, and in this movie we're mostly just at the beach. In the beginning it starts off somewhere else, but honestly for the most of it, it's just at the beach, and I was really excited for that because I think one location movies really can show how great an actor is and how great a movie is, because you're just in one location, so you have to make everything work and everything be useful. I just don't think it was enough, because there were genuinely parts where I felt it was a little bit boring because I just didn't really care about these characters. The characters make some of the worst decisions ever, and I know in horror movies that happens a little bit too often, and it's kind of like a horror movie trope, but like these characters are really not that great. There's just things happening that don't really make any sense, and there's not really an explanation for it. You have this one character who keeps kind of just making a joke. He keeps saying the same exact line for something, and it's supposed to be funny. People in my theater laughed, and I did laugh sometimes, but it also just kind of ruined the mood because it was super creepy, and you were kind of like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And then he delivers the same line that he has for the past 5 times, and I kind of just got tired of it. And then these characters just feel like stereotypes of like other things, and I'm not really gonna go too deep into that because I don't really want to spoil anything, but this character in particular, I was not a fan of her. I don't really like what they did with her at all, and I just thought it was kind of just dumb. Honestly, that's kind of what it comes down to. I think the movie really thought it was something else and took itself too seriously, and I think that's where it really fell down in my opinion. I do want to go back to talking about some positives though, and I do want to say that I really liked the makeup in this movie and also the casting choices. I think the casting directors did a really good job in casting the kids, because the kids are the ones that are going to change the most. I think they got like 3 sets of actors, and I thought they all did excellent, and I really enjoyed that. And for the adults, I really like the subtle changes in their faces and their bodies to kind of show them aging. I really like that. So I think in that department, the movie did a really good job in. However, I don't think the acting in this movie was that good, and it's kind of disappointing because this movie does have some good talent, but I think it's because of the script. These characters are sometimes saying things that I think are supposed to be deep or are supposed to be really good, and it just kind of felt dumb in my opinion. I think this is the second time that I say that, but a lot of this movie just felt stupid, which is really not a good thing in my opinion. And their reactions to certain things were also really strange. There's something that happens in this movie which I wasn't a fan of. I'm gonna kind of just talk spoilers here. Skip to this part if you don't want to hear this, but it is kind of a minor spoiler in my opinion, because if you look closely in the trailer, it's in it. But I wasn't a big fan of the pregnancy thing that happened. I just think it's weird that M. Night Shyamalan thought it was okay for 2 characters that were basically like 6-year-olds to make a baby. I just think that's a little bit weird, and I was not a fan of that storyline at all. It just didn't make sense, and it didn't make it any better. But back to talking non-spoilers here. I also think this movie breaks its own rules. There's things that are kind of established that happen in the beach, and then something happens and it's kind of broken, and then you really wonder, well, why was the point of introducing that if you're not really gonna follow through with it? It left me with a lot of questions. And then the twist. This movie has a twist. M. Night Shyamalan is known for his twist, and that's one of the reasons why he's one of my favorite directors. I love plot twists in movies, and I really wasn't a fan of this one at all. I kind of ended the movie, and how I look at it is, what was the movie trying to say? What did I get out of this movie? Because I think what M. Night Shyamalan thought originally with the twist was really good, and I could see how it could be really good, but I just think it was executed in probably the worst way ever. Not to mention that, like, there were just a lot of loose ends that happened, and at the end of the movie, there were like these other things that were introduced, and they just kind of come out of nowhere. And a twist is supposed to surprise you, and it surprised me, but because I just think it came out of completely nowhere in the worst way possible. I just think Old is a huge missed opportunity, because in moments that were supposed to be tense and scary, I was just laughing, and it just ends up having a lot of really cheesy and just cringy dialogue that these characters are saying, where by the end of it, I genuinely kind of felt like I wasted my time. So I don't know if I can recommend this movie. I'd honestly wait to watch it for free if it ever hits a streaming service or anything. But yeah, although there are some little positives here and there, I honestly don't think this is a great movie at all. I'm going to give M. Night Shyamalan's Old a D. Thank you guys so much for watching today's review, and if you have seen Old before you leave my video, please make sure to comment down below what you thought about it. I'd be interested to know if you guys liked it, because I think with M. Night Shyamalan movies, people either love it or don't like it, so I'm just very interested to hear where you guys fall, and we can have a nice discussion about Old down in the comment section. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's review. I appreciate you all very much. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, like the video if you did enjoy it, because it helps out the channel a lot, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next movie review. Bye everyone!